spent the last few minutes finalizing all the UVs for my bear, and I'm very pleased with how all of the seams that I've created for my UVs are translating into nice, efficient UV islands. If we were to turn on our grid pattern here, let's just do it real fast. I'll dock this out of the way. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the result here. I'm not getting a lot of warping. I'm seeing a nice, consistent grid here, and I'm ready to move on to the next step. As we explored earlier, we need to have all of our UVs, let's turn off our grid, we need to have all of our UV islands packed inside of what's called a positive UV quadrant. Our UV space is really nothing more than a gigantic grid. At the intersection of both of our U and V axes, we have the first quadrant, this guy, right here, this positive UV grid. This quadrant, if you will, the first big square, simply, is where we want all of our UVs to go. The computer is going to be placing a texture map inside of this grid. We want to have all of the polygons that are assigned to that texture be in this grid so that the texture is overlaid on top of their corresponding UV islands correctly. This process is called packing. You can do this by hand if you'd like. You're more than welcome to do this by hand, but I'm sitting in front of a gigantic thinking machine and I'm going to ask it to do it for me. And it's really easy to do with a couple of the tools. However, the first thing that we need to do before we pack or ask the computer to place all of our UVs inside of this little square is that we need to look at the angle and the rotation of all of these islands on the model itself, or so that the texture shows up on the model itself correctly. Excuse me, that's what I was trying to say. All right, let's go in. Let me show you specifically the problem that we're running into now. I'm projecting into the texturing stage. I want to have a fur texture go on top of my bear. This fur texture is just a two-dimensional texture with all the fur strands running from left to right. I need to look at my UV islands here and see if I need to change them so that when I put this fur texture on, it works efficiently on the model itself. And this is a really great example. If you look at the body here, the body itself, the island, is at a weird angle. Look at the letters. They're showing up. They're sloping down, sloping down towards the feet, which isn't what I want. That means if I was to put the texture on right now, the fur strands would be going down towards the toe, which is not exactly what I want. In the big picture, what we want is that we want to have all of our UV islands kind of oriented in the exact same direction. And we're going to do this real fast inside of our UV editor. Let's go find, yeah, it makes sense. Here's the UV island for my bear, okay, for my bear's body. And you can just see the way the unwrap tool or the unfold tool created the island, it's at a weird angle. Well, I want to start making it a little bit more horizontal. And so with that island selected, I'm just going to run the rotation tool. And I'm going to rotate it until I'm pretty happy with it. Now, I can get exact if I want. If I really would like to, I think I'm going to go into my edge selection mode, and I'm going to select just a singular edge inside of my model. When I was creating this geometry, I was very mindful to have a pure straight center line along the body, along the spine and the underbelly of the bear itself. Well, I want to have the computer find that center line through a selection and then have it automatically rotate the entire island so that that edge is perfectly horizontal in the map itself. And let's do this real fast. Just for illustration purposes, I'm going to put this at an odd angle again. Grab that edge, just make sure it's still selected. Grab that edge one more time. There it is. It's selected. Now, if we go into the Modify pull-down menu, way down at the bottom here, we have Orient Shells to Edges. Now, watch what happens to my UV island once I click on that command. It's going to analyze that edge, and it's going to automatically rotate the UV island so that that edge is perfectly horizontal in the screen itself, which is pretty cool. I'm liking that. Excellent. If we look at what happens back on the model, that grid pattern is now a little bit more consistent. The flow of the grid squares as it goes across the model is kind of flowing correctly from the left side to the right side. We have a really nice, efficient texture, or a real nice, efficient model that will accept the texture and wrap the texture as best as I can make it right here inside of my UVs, which is pretty cool. I'm going to do the exact same thing for my legs, for my head. It's going to go pretty fast, and I'm actually going to use some of the edge selections that we find on the model itself. Let's grab that guy, and once again, modify it. We're going to orient that shell so that that edge that I selected is perfectly straight up and down. And we're still getting a real kind of odd twist again. Let's see if there's something we can do. And at times, the easy solution is just to grab it, hit the rotate tool, and just do it by hand. Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty pleased. Now, if you look at the overall result here, the grid pattern in that test grid is going perfectly up and down, which is what I'm after. This one's already looking pretty good. This is the final step in packing. Just making sure that what we've created here is going to give us the best opportunity to create texture over inside of Substance Painter. And I'd individually by hand go and do these for all of the legs and all the body parts. We also want to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best opportunity to produce a texture that's of pretty good quality by orienting these certain UV islands so that we can make sense of them. Here's a great example of that. Here's the UV island that represents the head. Right now, I can see the eyes, the mouth, the ears. Right now, at the weird angle, this is going to be kind of a challenge for me to create a texture at an angle. I'd really like this to be perfectly horizontal, so it's just easier. The landmarks on the face UVs are easier to understand. They're easier to see. The eyes are perfectly horizontal. I can see where the ears are. If it's easier for me, the end result and the quality is going to be so much higher. So let's go and do it real fast. I'm going to use that little edge selection trick one more time. I'm going to go in, just into edge selection mode, and grab that edge right there in the middle, the select tool. Then under the modify pull down menu, orient shell to edge, and then there it is. Now, it's always going to take the edge and make it horizontal. In this particular case, I want that edge to be vertical. Well, easy solution would be just to grab the shell, fire off the rotation tool, hold down the J key, which is going to snap the rotation to 15-degree increments, and then just run it a number of times until that shape has been rotated 90 degrees. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to pretend, just for illustration purposes, that I've gone and done every single island in the map itself. I've oriented them so it makes sense that the grid pattern in the test checker pattern is giving me a nice, clean, even distribution of the image across all the UVs, and I'm ready to start packing all of these islands into that positive UV quadrant. As one might imagine, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to select all of the islands that we want to pack themselves. With that selection complete, we simply go into the Modify pull-down menu, and it's right here. It's the Layout command. And then once we click on it, boom, it automatically packs all of those UVs into that positive UV quadrant while maintaining the rotation that we set in the previous stage. If you look very carefully down here, you can see that the bear is still in its orientation that we set just in that previous state. So it's honoring all of the orientation steps that we just completed when packing all of this information in here. And this is a great place to be. If you look carefully, we have a nice little seam between all the UVs. They're packed in there as close as we can make them. The computer uses its own internal algorithm to pack all these UVs as efficiently as it can while maintaining the correct proportions of the pieces to each other. That's called the textile density, if you will. It's just a great algorithm that I think you're really going to find is quite helpful in the packing of all of your UVs inside of that positive UV quadrant. We cannot advance on to the final texturing stage inside of Substance Painter until all of our UVs are packed inside of this first quadrant. The entire texturing stage is dependent upon this first thing, and we complete that step with the Layout command right here in Maya.